Hey everybody, it's Chance here yet again with another episode of Paranormasight, the Seven Mysteries of Honjo. Last time, um, we learned that Harui was the one who found the hand of the girl who died 20 years ago of the possible serial killings question mark that Tetsuo Tetsuo, I believe his name is, right? Yes, I got it right in one go. That Tetsuo arrested 20 years ago. And Harui, so we learned a lot of information. So Haruhi, where to start? Okay, so Harui got Richter to go look for the other curse bearers. So she kind of sat Jay chillin' in her apartment for a bit. Not really chilling, honestly. She was not. She was not uh, chilling at all. Um, and waiting for the phone call from Richter when he was ready. Um, while reading the newspaper, she found out that Michio killed herself. And I got my info wrong and learned that Kohei Jinochi was actually talking about Michio, not Hitomi. That was a me mistake more than anything else. Um, but that begs into question. Michio is dead. Um, so why would he be scared of her? Who could say? But then she gets the call from Richter, and they go to the bridge where she found the dead hand of that girl who she was a classmate, because 20 years ago she was in high school as well. She was the one who found the hand um, that led to which led to Tetsuo arresting Fukushima Nejima. Um, and got some information about that. Um, and she said, interestingly enough, that where is he? That she felt like the janitor that went to that school kind of looked similar, or gave her a similar vibe. It's been 20 years. I don't know personally, but um, she gave this info that it seemed kind of the vibes were there. The vibes were kind of rancid, and she felt weird about it. Um, and so then, as they were talking, these two, um, let's see. Yeah. So partially that reasoning, Richter said that people who were people who were arrested in the past like couple decades, last few decades, have been going on parole, and notoriously bad criminals are given new identities so they can't be found in the workplace. So that's what kind of also led to this connection here. While they were talking, Ayame Tono showed up, who is dating Utaro, but doesn't like him. She's dating him because it's easier, because it's easy. But she is like, well, Utaro lost his curse echo, and I was figured that I'll ask, and we'll go from there because she wants to resurrect Kazushika Hokusai's, who is a famous artist. She wants to bring him back to life with the Resurrection Stone. We still don't know why Utaro wants it, but Ayame is really funny because she's just kind of an opportunist. And, good for women. So then we went back to Yako, and basically didn't tell the janitor about Mio. And I don't know, well, it looks like Mio's okay. Unsure. But we did eventually go home. Mio did not go out, but we didn't go inside. So hopefully Mio's okay. After this, um, after this, we got back to Tetsuo and went to the park where our good friends up here were, and found Shogo's dead body. He's just a dead boy. You get to play as him for a bit, but he dies no matter what. He does not survive the night. You know, that's so sad. Just an unremarkable normal guy. And while there, we get a threatening phone call from, you guessed it. If I could scroll down to there, that would be useful. From, you guessed it, Fumichima Nejima, or someone claiming to be Fumichika Nejima, saying that he has one of the curse echoes, and that if you can't figure something out, Tetsuo, I'm gonna kill so many people. And I'm gonna kill the people you care about, including your daughter. So it's now gonna be a fight. It's now gonna be a fight between serial killer and cop, which is always exciting. That being said, though, I'm gonna go to Yako because I want to make sure Mio is okay. Alright, Yako Hitomi's help. Yako Sakazaki, summary of previous events. Bringing her friend back from the dead means she'll have to pay the price. Yako makes it home safely, but still isn't sure about how to proceed with the curse. She worries about Mio as the night passes. Also, it does seem to take place over more than just one night, because we're going to the day, and also we have 12 hours. So, let's go. 8 a.m. Meow. Yako's home. Oh, good morning, Yako. Huh? Yako? Rise and shine. Huh? You're up. Huh? It's morning. I... Are you okay? Can you remember your name? Oh, duh, I'm Mio Kurosuzu, the Spectre of the Spirit Board. I'm Yako. Ah, some Yako Sakazaki. I like how we could have chosen to get that one wrong. Good. It seems like you're fully awake. Oh, Mio, thanks for last night. Was everything okay? Yep, still alive. I couldn't dispel the curse echo or learn the identity of who used it, but I managed to at least get away. But in that situation, it's the best you can hope for. I'm sorry I got you involved in something so dangerous. I meant to look for you as soon as the sun rose, but I was just so sleepy. I can't even remember when I fell asleep. It's okay. It's only natural to be exhausted after what you went through. Besides, I also feel bad that you've been wrapped up in all of this. It's supposed to be my job to prevent that from happening. Oh, yeah, you said something about that last night. Just who are you exactly, Mio? Oh, well, the truth is, I've been trained in things having to do with the supernatural. Huh? You mean like you can learn that kind of stuff like you would with flower arranging? I had quite the eventful childhood. Huh, that sounds like it must have been tough. Yes, it would take a long time to explain, so let's just leave it at that for now. As fate would have it, I've ended up as the apprentice, or maybe more like the assistant, of a notable paranormal expert. Schools have always been more paranormal disturbances because young people tend to be more susceptible to these things. I'm sent to schools that may experience something paranormal and to put a stop to it before it happens. Wow, that's amazing. So it's like a part-time job you do while also being a student? Well, I do help to maintain public order, but it's part of my training, so I don't get any money. Oh, you've got it rough then. But still, that really is amazing. You were so cool when you faced off against the evil spirit. I never know if I should be happy when you compliment me like that. But anyway, that's why it's up to me to resolve any paranormal issues at the school. And why I'm going to look into the cause of all this. But for now, let's head to school. Yeah. Do you have your curse stone? Now that it's daytime and its power is diminished, I should be able to hold it. Want to give it a try? Right, I do have it, but... Yako, is it really so wrong? Trying to bring Michio back, I mean. I can't approve of it. The rite may seem like a dream come true, but if it involves taking the lives of other people, then... Yeah, true. I want to make sure this whole ritual ends without anyone getting hurt. Well, unfortunately, it's too late for that, Mio. That's what I believe, and what I'll put before anything else. I'm sorry, but is it okay if I hold on to it? Yako, I promise I won't use the curse no matter what, but maybe there's some other way. I just have this feeling that I shouldn't give up on the possibility just yet. That said, I'll help you, even if it's to stop the curses. For the Michio that still exists within me, I'll settle things so that we can move forward. Okay, but if you ever feel in danger, you can give me the curse stone at any point. Right, thank you, Mia. Okay then, let's go. Let's see, Candy Shop Senoya, an old-fashioned candy shop located on a street corner in Honjo. It has been in Yako Sakazaki's family for 3 generations. On the weekends, you can spot Yako watching over the store, cooking manjayaki, and playing traditional tops and cards games with the local children. Though traditional candy shops are known for selling cheap treats for kids, it's not uncommon to see these largely private-owned businesses become something more like general stores, selling food, drinks, utensils, and other daily necessities. Many families operate candy shops in the dirt ground floor of their home, known as doma, with a space in the back where customers can eat monijaki, as well as arcade games and capsule toy machines in the front. Such facilities make them attractive places for children to gather and play. However, with the harsh reality that is the traditional candy shop, which thrived during the period of high economic growth when many confectionery manufacturers entered the market, are experiencing a steady decline due to the rise of convenience stores and changes in children's interests and tastes. Komagata High School front gates. Huh? I thought I thought it was unusually noisy. There's a big group of people and police in front of the school. Did something happen? If the police are here, then something must have. I'll go and ask. Thanks. Love her high ponytail. This isn't good. Huh? What happened? Um, don't panic, okay? The first teacher who came to work this morning found something. Okay? Mr. Jonauchi was found dead in the middle of the school grounds. Well, there goes that investigation for the private investigator. Sorry, Harui. What? They're closing the school for today. But that's not all. I didn't know this either since I didn't watch the morning news, but rumors are spreading that a number of bodies were found nearby. What? There's no way. Why? How could this be? Because of the curse? We don't know enough to say. From what I heard, Mr. Jonauchi's body was in the middle of the grounds. But his body was covered in bruises, like he had fallen from somewhere high. Weird. Taking into the account his unnatural death and timing, it's very likely it has something to do with the curse. You're saying someone used their curse on him last night? Seems like it, doesn't it? I'm gonna... Oh, wrong button. So, let's see. The Whispering Canal, we know how this goes. This leads to suffocation. We have this one. I don't know how this leads to how their dead body ends up being, but clearly not that. The Beckoning Light. We don't know anything about this one. We know about the Haunting Clappers. This leads to fire. Evergreen Beach. We know this one. Taiko of Tsukara. This is one we also don't... Tsugaru. This also we don't know. The Foot Washing Mansion. We know about this one. One-sided reed. Burning Lantern. Okay. So, let's see. So we don't know anything about the Beckoning Light or the real story there. The Taiko of Sugara. I mean, this one has a tower, so maybe it's related to this one. The one-sided reed. So one-sided read is the one that our serial killer friend says he has. And this one probably has to do with dismembering, likely. But yeah, this one could either be the Beckoning Land or the Taiko Tsugaru, but I have a feeling it's the Taiko Tsugaru. But that's so scary! Yeesh, so the curses really do kill people? And someone used it? Shh, keep your voice down, okay? Mio is so short, or Yako is so tall. What would happen if another curse bearer heard you? Sorry. He is dead. Anything new there? Oh, there we go. His deceased body was discovered on the school grounds at dawn. Wish we had a little more information, but they locked up the front gate. Maybe we can sneak in through the back entrance. That person over there, isn't that Hitomi Okuda? You're right, that's unusual. But she was at the school last night too. She must know something about Mr. Jonauchi. Let's see what she has to say. Wait, Mio, wait for me. Huh. So you're telling me the two of you were the ones at school last night? No sense in hiding it then. Plus, I owe you one, Mio. I'll tell you everything I know. Thank you. She owes you? Yeah, right after I transferred here, there was a bit of trouble. She gave me... excuse me. She gave me one of those, what was it? Oh, exorcisms? Ah, so that's what it was. I want to learn about the exorcism first. Hitomi, were you possessed by some sort of evil spirit? I don't understand it all too well myself, but what I can say for sure is, thanks to Mio, the weird symptoms that were happening to me all went away. Sorry. It's cold in the office right now, so I have a heater. I have a heater close to my legs. Yep, some people are born with a natural sensitivity to the paranormal. They tend to end up isolated as they struggle to relate to the people around them. They also tend to draw spirits to them naturally. This can cause strange symptoms they don't understand, like headaches, muscle stiffness, and hallucinations, even memory problems. I'm sure it must have been very hard. So that's how it works, huh? Do people have their own personality taken over when possessed too? It is possible with spirits who have a very close relationship to the target, like siblings or a parent and child, but you almost never hear about people being taken over completely. It's when two parties aren't in sync that those negative effects can start to appear. So the seances or whatever you see on TV are all bogus? Not quite. There are mediums and diviners who can align their minds with the spirits they call. There are people who are just putting on a performance. Huh. There are people in life who had an extremely powerful spirit sense or a deep connection with the person. But even they shouldn't be able to completely take over the person they possess. And even if they could, it'd only be enough to pressure them to choose certain behaviors that wouldn't be unusual for them to do on their own to begin with. If that's the case, wouldn't you not know if you were choosing that behavior on your own will or not? Hence why there are a lot of cases where people don't even realize they're possessed. The spirits may influence the behavior and memories of the host. The deeper the connection in life, the easier it is for that to occur. I see. Getting possessed by a spirit is pretty complicated, huh? It must have been tough for you being possessed for so long, Hitomi. Whatever. It might have happened. Whatever might happen to me Whatever might happen to me doesn't make any difference. Me being able to see spirits and stuff has nothing to do with how things ended up like this. Yeah, it's not like being able to see them is your fault either. The same goes for me. Maybe it's just something we have to live with. I think you have a knack for it yourself, Yako. I bet you could see them with a little training. I think I might pass. Did you hear about Mr. Jonauchi? Heard about it? I've known about it since last night. I saw that asshole bite it on the school grounds myself. What? You saw it happen? Tell us about it. What exactly happened? I don't really know myself. It was pitch black. What I can tell you, it was almost dawn, probably around 3. He started freaking out all of a sudden, ran onto the ground like something was chasing him, then screamed. Ugh, someone help me. Forgive me, Michio. Or something like that while he was running around. Michio? He mentioned Michio? Was there anyone else out on the grounds? It was too dark to see where I was. But for a second, I think I saw a girl in a school uniform with her hair in braids. Oh? I didn't go out to make sure, so it could have been nothing for all I know. But then I heard him begging for his life like, I was wrong, and I'll do anything. And all of a sudden, his arms and legs snapped even though he was just standing there. His arms and legs broke without anything being done to him? Sounds like a curse. He fell over and quit moving, so I thought I'd better get out of there. I was just like, wait, Michio is dead, but she might have been able to see it if she has a high spirit sense. She would just be able to see her because she died in the similar area. No, not in this area, but it wouldn't be unusual. And then he croaked. That's all I saw. I see. But from what you told us, it sounds like Michio's ghost chased down Mr. Jonauchi and killed him. Well, if I know anything about it, I'm just telling you what I heard him say. Tell me, last night before you witnessed Mr. Jonauchi collapse, may I ask what he and you were doing in the classroom? You gonna tell the cops? Oh, right, with everything that happened with Mr. Jonauchi. They'll suspect if we told them we saw you with him last night. Anytime something happens with someone like me, all those shitty adults just start jumping to conclusions. I understand. I won't tell him. You wouldn't have been able to kill him anyway. If you say so, then I won't mind telling you about it. So, last night, that piece of shit, Jonauchi, called me over here, acting like he was gonna attack me or something. How terrible! Whatever, I'm glad it's dead. He had it coming. Calling people worthless and a cancer on society when he doesn't know shit about them? Ugh. Heinous. That asshole was the one always acting like scum, if you ask me. Is that so? Could you tell us in more detail why he called you out in the middle of the night? It's hard to explain where to start. Okay. What did you mean by Mr. Jonauchi acting like scum? Was he doing something bad? You know Michio Surashi, right? The girl who killed herself? Huh, Michio? I don't know everything about it, but that creep of a teacher had some dirt on her. And he was using it to blackmail her, call her up after school and make her do whatever he wanted. Ugh. What? What do you mean when you say whatever he wanted? I'll leave it to your imagination. Nothing that a couple model students like you would ever get involved in. No way, how? What do you mean by dirt? I don't know anything about this. How could I not have known about this? Yako, I know how you feel, but try to calm down. You got guts acting like you were her friend. Jonauchi really did a number on both Michio's body and soul. She probably felt like she couldn't tell anyone, like she had to suffer alone. Oh, how terrible! Hitomi, how do you know about this? I just happened to walk in on it. You know how I know the spots around school people go to when they want to stay out of sight. He ran off in a panic when I yelled at him, asking him what he was doing. Walked in on it? I couldn't leave her alone, I couldn't leave her alone looking like she was about to cry, so I stuck around for a bit. She told me everything that happened in whispers. She probably figured I wasn't the type to spread that stuff around. She never asked for my help. She was told me that she was fine and to keep it a secret. Michio, why? She probably thought she had to grit her teeth till it was through. She was naive. I tried to tell her that if you give guys like that an inch, they'll take a mile. She kept saying it was her punishment. She was soft. No. I mean, if she was involved in that, thing from a year ago, the kidnapping. Of course, Jonauchi didn't change. He kept on doing what he was doing. I don't understand either of them. That's as much as I was involved. Then she killed herself. Nothing I can do about it now. Tell me, if you knew about it, then why didn't you... You trying to say it's my fault? She told me not to say anything. She told me she was fine. So what the hell more responsibility do I have to do other than what I already did? Yako, there's no point in blaming Hitomi. Michio, why? Did you hear what this dirt was? Nope, never heard what it was. But from the sound of it, he'd been blackmailing her since about a year ago. For that long? The dick probably caught her doing something she shouldn't have been. She looked well behaved, but there's more to a person than meets the eye, you know? There must have been some reason. Dunno, got nothing to do with me. Did you tell the story to the police? Nope, and I ain't gonna. Can't count on them for shit. Fair. Not that they believe such an insane story anyways. Right. But there must have been at least one person in the police worth trusting, right? Yeah, I guess. There was this one cop always got on my case about stuff, but he died. But he just died the other day. Oh, he did? I'm sorry to hear that. Everyone who gets involved with me ends up dead. Maybe I really am cursed. Pisses me off. You got it all wrong. The spirit that possessed you wasn't that kind of spirit. Huh? It wasn't? Yeah, it was just this unfortunate coincidence. Though I'm sure that it was hard enough for you. That's all I know. Hey, Mio, I've been thinking something. The way she described it reminded me of something. The way Mr. Jonauchi died. It sounds a lot like the way Michio died. Of course, I didn't see it myself. The state of Michio's body was in, like she had fallen from high up. Could they have been killed by the same curse? I don't think so. The curses of the Seven Mysteries hadn't manifested when she died. And if we can trust the Spirit Board said, then Michio died in an accident. Oh, right. So that's why you do the job you do, huh, Mio? I thought she was a weirdo when she showed up all of a sudden saying she was gonna exorcise me. If you hadn't said anything, I probably would have knocked your lights out. You tried to perform an exorcism on her without telling her anything? You see, in my experience, most people don't understand no matter how much I explain. They only accept my explanation after they see the results. I guess that makes sense. So last night, how did it start? Right. Remember that nosy cop I mentioned who was always on my case? He died at a former Yatsuda Gardens a couple days ago. Yoshimi was his name. He was a part of the juvenile division. He didn't look like a cop at all. Real rough guy, but good at looking out for folks, so he was the only one I could talk to. Ah, so there was someone like that with the police. Too bad he ended up dying. Oh, and another thing. The one time he suddenly introduced his fiancée to me, it was hilarious seeing a big guy act like a shy little kid all of a sudden. She told me she was like me when she was my age and she was on my side. It must have been a terrible loss for her too. Yeah, I do feel a little bad for her when I think about how sadness she must be. And I saw him at the gardens the night he died. Oh no. This is like the least lucky person on the planet. Whenever I would get worked up over something, Yoshimi always took me straight to that park. And he'd listen to whatever I was pissed off about. That day he called me over there like usual. But something seemed off about him, like he was worried about... like he was worried about something? Worried about something? Yeah, he asked me for a favor, too. That was pretty unusual. A favor? What kind of favor? He handed over to me a weird talisman and asked me to hold it onto it for him. A talisman? Yeah, just a normal good luck charm. I figured that was it, then sure, I'll take it. I have it with me now. But that wasn't all. Then he told me he wanted me to look for the talisman Michio Shirashi had that looked like this one. Huh? Michio? What did she have to do with all this? Yoshimi had been meeting up and talking with her. While they were together, he noticed something like she had a special talisman or something. But apparently Michio always avoided the subject. The talisman that Michio had, it's something from her father, right? He knew that I knew her, so that's why he asked me, he said. Could there have been something that Michio couldn't even tell the police about? I mean, she was blackmailed, so I think it says, just curious, she has an old talisman and memento of her father. I know things at home were a little complicated. From what I heard, Michio was keeping her mouth shut about what Jonuchi was doing, or hard to talk about that with the cops when someone's got dirt on you. And I didn't squeal on anything about Michio either. Michio, what was it that had such a strong grip on you? So basically, Yoshimi didn't have his eye on Michio, but her talisman too. But after she died, he didn't know where it ended up. So, since I knew her from school, he wanted me to look into it for him. Is there something special about the two talismans? I wonder why he gave it to you. Hell if I know. When I looked inside of it, there was just a weird kind of grimy scrap of wood. So you've seen inside it. But from the way he was acting, it seemed important to him somehow. But to be honest, what he was asking was such a pain in the ass, I figured he had to be serious about it. Oh, and since he died right after that. Yeah, he even said to me, if anything happens to me, take those two talismans. Give them to a guy named Nakagoshi at the police department. Knowing what I know now, he probably felt like something was going to happen to him. Huh? Nakagoshi? Nakagoshi. Is that... No, we don't know this guy. No, I've just heard the name, I think. So there really is a Nakagoshi. That's a relief at least. Anyway, it didn't feel right just ignoring a dead guy's last request. Hitomi? Yeah? That talisman. Would you mind if I had a look at it? Sorry, but I don't trust you all that much yet. It's important to me. Oh, okay. So last night you were looking for the talisman Michio had? Yeah. And I figured that piece of garbage teacher would know the most about Michio. I asked him yesterday afternoon if he knew anything about her talisman. He gave me some cryptic response like, I can't talk about it now, come to the school tonight. He even gave me a code to the lock of the back entrance. He seemed pretty willing to give it out, so I wouldn't be surprised if he'd use it for secret meetings before. Ugh, I can only imagine. We claimed over the front gate to get in. Yeah, so we met up in the classroom in the middle of the night. But nothing he said made any sense. Like, that I was really Michio and stuff like that. He went on and on about how it was my fault, and only if I hadn't been around or something. He grabbed a hold of me, breathing heavily. Ugh. Are you okay? Yeah, that's when you two showed up. I was able to get away while Jonauchi was freaking out. Oh my gosh, good thing you got away. So it was really all thanks to you two that I got away. I didn't get any info about the talisman, so the whole thing was sort of a bust. Afterwards, I was wondering what you two were up to, so I hid nearby. Then I saw you and old man Ashimiya talking, and then Mio showed up. Oh, you did? And that's also why I saw Jonauchi come back on the inside and bite it. I see. So you're only here to look for Michio's talisman. Okay. I was dumb to fall for that crude Jonauchi's trap so easily. It could have gone a lot worse, but I lucked out. What you described does sound like Michio killed Mr. Jonauchi. She did have a reason to hate him after all. No way, you mean like that really was her ghost? Like for real? Those who die bearing strong resentment or regret can occasionally become spirits either bound to a place or roaming freely. However, it'd usually be impossible for them to kill the living. Most don't have that kind of power. But it's possible they could possess someone close to them to act on those lingering regrets. Huh, wonder if that's what happened. Alright, then supposing the spirit board said was true and Michio's death was an accident, then she must have had some regrets. She really hadn't given up on living, that is. I don't think she was the kind of girl who would just give up no matter what the situation. I don't really know, but she seemed like she had something tormenting her so much she killed herself. She didn't seem like... And that's all I know. Happy? I'm still gonna look for the talisman. Sure. Thank you, Hitomi. Oh, and if you two find anything about Michio's talisman, we'll be sure to let you know. Thanks. Oh, can we get your contact info, where we can normally find you? Right, I'm not home most of the time. I'm usually at a friend's place. Here's the phone number. Thanks. We'll call if we need to talk with you. And, what is it? You're easier to talk to than I imagined. I was kind of scared at first, but not anymore. Shut up. You were the one avoiding me. Anyway, catch you later. Don't die out there, okay? Thanks. We'll be careful. Love to hang out with the rough and tumble girl. Alright then. A lot of new information. Sounds like Mr. Donauchi was killed by a curse, just as we thought. Which means there was a curse bearer at the school. Multiple, in fact. Multiple? You think so? Yes, the curse echo we experienced in the school and the one that killed Mr. Donauchi seem to be different. The people in the school at the time other than us were... Mr. Donauchi, Hitomi, and Old Man Ashimiya, who we ran into. I was thinking it would be among them, but there was one more person. Hitomi saw a girl in a school uniform with braids. From what Hitomi was saying, it doesn't seem like she was the one. It doesn't seem like she's one. Mr. Donauchi was pretty suspicious, though. If he were a curse bearer, he would certainly explain why he was killed. Right, that's why I say there are multiple. Oh, right, the person who killed Mr. Donauchi would have to be one too. Which means it would either be the mysterious girl or Old Man Ashimiya? Yeah, we should definitely be careful of them. That said, the mysterious girl and the fact that Mr. Donauchi thought he was Michio was attacking him has me wondering. Of course, I doubt Michio herself was actually there, but... Oh, I just remembered, I also saw Mr. Araishi outside the main gate last night. You did? It's likely he's involved with the curse given that he's the one doing the research on the Rite of Resurrection. So we have to be careful of Old Man Ashimiya and Mr. Araishi. Oh, I can't look at the story chart right now. We'll look at it in a moment. I want to believe that all non-curse bearers will be hostile, but... As for what to do now, I'd like to find out who is responsible for the Feast of Shadows that set this off and how they did it. I don't think we'll be able to end this without stopping it at its source. Huh, that makes sense. In which case, what next we should do... What exactly? We'll need to talk to Mr. Araishi. He definitely knows something. It should be safer during the day, so I think we should try to look for him. Got it. I'll help in any way I can. But the school is closed. I wonder where he could be. Let's try heading someplace someone might know where he is. Where to go then? Oh. Maybe Komagata Bridge? And so, Mio Kurasuzu and Yako Sakazaki decided on their next location to investigate. Oh. Alright, I guess, yeah, so let's see. Yeah, so by the point where she sees Mr. Araishi, right? That's his name? Yes. He already had his talisman taken away. So he had it taken away here. Ah, yawning. But if that relation does exist, because that was the way to get through here successfully, then he is definitely... he might be a curse bearer. Not sure the specifics, though. Well, we'll go back to that. Let's do sorting things out. Hajime Yoshimi's death, Nejima's threat of mass murder, then problems just pile up, putting those detectives' goal of collecting all the curse stones in jeopardy. Tatsumi, oh, why is my mouse just in the middle of the screen? Okay, it's being weird. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay. The problems just pile up, putting the detective's goals of collecting all the curse stones in jeopardy. Tatsumi leaves Ario to handle the investigation while he catches a quick break. Yay AM. Kinshibori Park. Sorry for the wait, boss, but I managed to gather some info. Took you long enough. He's been up all night gathering information. It must be nice to be young and have that kind of energy, but I'm glad to have him on my side. Gave me a chance to rest up. Whee. Forensic has finished their investigation, and the body's been carried away. That said, we're still closing the park to the public, at least for the time being. This place is really giving me the creeps last night, but it looks pretty normal now with the sun up. Oh, yeah. That is how things work. What? Mockingbird. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What's this one called? Swanalope Swoost. Stupid. Anyway. Things at the station were pretty hectic, but I managed to find some info. Let me fill you in. Thanks, the floor is yours. A total of 3 mysterious deaths were confirmed in the area, including one in the park. So let's start with that one, the young man we found here. Shogo. He has been identified as Shogo Okie, a 25 years old, a regular old office worker who worked around here. He died of asphyxiation due to water in the lungs. He drowned. Okay, so maybe that guy... Yeah, this guy. Maybe this guy got it in that version of events and then killed Shogo. He drowned in the middle of the park? That's not possible. It's gotta be a curse we're dealing with here. About that, boss. Isn't this park associated with one of the 7 mysteries, too? Yeah, the Whispering Canal. It does seem like there'd be a link between the canal and death by drowning, don't you think? Sharp thinking, Ario. You're starting to get the hang of this. So let's assume they're related. What's next? Before that, a body of a woman was found behind a residential complex in Kamizawa. The victim has identified as Tawako Hayashi, 29 years old. She was an office worker who lived in their area. As for the cause of death, well, yes, the entirety of her body was crushed by some kind of strong external force, and that's what this guy did. No murder weapon was found in the area, but considering the way she was found, we're looking for something large, flat, and heavy that could have crushed her in one fell swoop. Hang on, are you saying that she was stepped on? Meaning, what's that one called? The foot washing mansion. Exactly, crushing the foot washing mansion's modus operandi. The place the body was discovered is also known to be related to the 7 mysteries. Then this is Namagaki's doing? Shit, I knew he used it. Judging from the amount of soul dregs, the victim was just a regular person, not a curse bearer. Guess we should report this to Paranormal Affairs. Got it. And for the 3rd victim... School teacher. He was identified as Kohei Donouchi, 32, a teacher at Komagata High. He was found in the school's courtyard. Cause of death appears to be external trauma from a fall or heavy blow. The impact crushed his arms and legs. Since he was found in the middle of the courtyard, he couldn't have fallen from the gymnasium or the main building. A teacher dying at school. Not just any school, Komagata houses one of the 7 mysteries. The Fool's Procession. Right, it's the Fool's Procession. Well, it's not that one. It's not that one. I see. Either way, it seems all 3 victims can be tied to the 7 mysteries. There's probably a curse bearer at the center of this all, pulling at the strings. You got a point. All these strange deaths do point in one direction. That's right, and Hajime's case wasn't all that different either. He also died of mysterious causes in a place connected to the Seven Mysteries. Problem was the timing doesn't match up. He died before the curses were activated. Could he have been hit by a different curse? One that didn't have anything to do with the Seven Mysteries? That's a thought, but if that were the case, we'd be dealing with one powerful practitioner, one who could pull off a curse like that without using a curse stone. There aren't many people in this day and age who could do something like that. Oh, really? I don't know much about that kind of stuff. I'd be more surprised if you did. Well, looking at the deaths, it seems like many of the curse bearers acted last night. But we can't rule out there were more killings from which bodies haven't been found. Eek, I haven't thought of that. But there is one silver lining. Judging by my own curse stone, it seems that the curses can't be activated while the sun is out. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great news. So basically we're safe during the daytime? Exactly. It's also likely why Najima gave us until dusk. He must have known the curse stones couldn't be used during the day. Either way, we got till nightfall to settle this. It's time we flushed out the other curse bearers. Aye, boss, let's do this. At the moment, we only know the identity of 4 curse bearers, you included. Yutaro Nambagaki had the Fush-watching mission, and Hideki Haraishi had the ever-burning lantern. We got them both of their curse stones. And then there's Nejima, who claims he has the one-sided read. Yeah, that about sums it up. Yeah, because we know... 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe? 4 for sure. He no longer has it, though. Maybe 5. 6. 7? 8? That still leaves 1, though. Oh! They gave it to me. That's so nice. Alright, Whispering Canal. Who knows at this point? The Fool's Procession. We know it's Yako. Beckoning Light question mark. Content Clampers Haruhi. Tetsuo. Yutaro. Tetsuo. Yumachika. Hideki to Tetsuo. You'd better figure out who the remaining 5 are quick. How should we go about looking for them? Well, there's no point in searching blindly without a lead, so let's focus on other things for now. Tracking down Nejima may lead us to the other curse bearers, too. Yawn. Either way, he should be our top priority. He could do some real damage if we don't get him. I also want to look a little more into Yoshimi, but I got a feeling there's some connection there. Aye, boss. Sounds like we're getting our work cut out for us. I asked around Sumida's community safety area where Yoshimi was stationed. It seems he was investigating the apparent suicide of a girl named Michio Chiraishi. Yeah, I heard about that. He was trying to determine whether it was really a suicide. It looks like the health of the building, looking into the height of the building, the force of the impact, her wounds, and all that. He must have suspected some kind of foul play because he ordered a full investigation. But it had already been deemed a suicide and his superiors told him not to go stirring things up. Well, what was the evidence? Well, according to the report I found on his desk last night, the body was found at the foot of a building a ways away from the road. There was no evidence of a vehicular collision, so it was ruled a suicide, but he thought there was more to it? Yes, a truck or other flat-faced vehicle traveling at high speeds could have inflicted similar damage. In other words, sometimes a traffic accident could look awful lot like a fall. Interesting, okay. So it's possible that was the accident? So there was a chance that it wasn't a suicide. But what a terrible way to go. There is no brake marks on the road, meaning it would have been a hit and run. The vehicle would have hit her without slowing down at all. This is turning quite into a grisly case. But the vehicle couldn't have come out of collision like that unscathed. Exactly, so I asked the Traffic Bureau to keep an eye out for any vehicles with frontal damage. But I haven't heard back from them. I don't think they're looking very hard. So we got no proof. That said, if it was a traffic accident rather than a suicide, It's possible that someone silenced Yoshimi because he was on the verge of discovering the truth. That's true. Do you think the driver was the one who did him in? Not quite. Yoshimi had already talked to the forensic and traffic bureaus, right? His death wouldn't have covered things up. You're right on that. Even if his suicide was a cover-up for a hit-and-run, it doesn't seem like enough of a reason to kill a cop. Oh, that's right. Unrelated, but I got something else too. I managed to get a hold of Michio Shiraishi's arrest. Yoshimi went there a bunch of times over the course of his investigation. Might be a good idea for us to drop by too. Good thinking. Hopefully that'll give us some more leads. Alright, let's move on to the next topic. HQ has mobilized a search unit for Nejima, but so far we haven't received any word. Guessing he wasn't at work or at home? About that, apparently he vacated his last known address a week ago. You serious? So we have no idea where he lives? It gets worse. I checked in on him with the factory he was working at. They told me he was only there for a month before he quit. Hold on a second, you're telling me that no one caught that? Well, I had the same thought, so I spoke to his probation officer. Turns out he had been doing house visits and interviews, but never bothered checking on his workplace. He also said he lost track of Nejima when he moved to a new place. That's just sloppy. I've heard that they're giving parole to just about anyone these days because they're running out of room in the prisons. Which also means there aren't enough probation officers to go around. Dude's probably overworked. So Nejima got to fuck around unsupervised. God damn it. That asshole is annoyingly good at faking remorse or insanity or whatever the situation calls for. Back when I arrested him all those years ago, just talking to him left a bad taste in my mouth. He's probably hiding under a false name, which would make him hard to track down. That explained why he so brazenly made contact. That asshole, he's mocking us. Well, for now, the paperwork to circulate his name and mugshot have been filled. That's gonna take us way too long. We only have until dusk. Ugh. Remember the girl Yoshimi met the day he died? The one Hitomi Okuda? Community Safety didn't have any contact information for her on hand. Not even an address? Well, they had her parents' information, but when I called, they said they hadn't heard from her in a month. Lots of family issues from the sound of it. They didn't even say they wanted to do anything with you, but they didn't want anything to do with her anymore. That says, she still goes to school once in a while, so we might be able to find her there. Not really sure I have the time for a stakeout right now, but she could be a key witness. Can't we have the community safety track her down for us? We can ask, but it might be trickier to get that done today. For starters, Komagata High School is closed today. Because of the teacher who died? That's right. Alright, but if there's not something we can do today, we may have to forget about it. Let's move on then. I got some information about Yoshimi's fiancée from the community safety. Her name is Mayu Chozawa, a 27-year-old. She works as a beautician in the area. Look, I even managed to get a picture of her. She sure is a beauty. But, oh boy, here it comes. But what? Community Safety hasn't been able to contact her since Yoshimi died. Not by phone or at her house. In other words, no response. Dead silence. There it is. Can't things just be easy for once? Okay. She's on the main... she's on the main key art. Alright, Mayu is a beauty officer. Okay. It's definitely starting to look suspect. A crime of passion, perhaps? It's fairly common for people to be killed by a lover or a spouse, but Yoshimi was well liked, and they'd been together for over 10 years. You never know, things could be different behind closed doors. I guess so, but we'll have to consider the opposite scenario too. Could be the same person who was out for Yoshimi is after his fiancée as well. She could be in danger. You're right, either way she's important to the case. HQ already has people looking for her. We'll know as soon as she's found. Speaking of Nejima. Yeah? Did you manage to reach out to your daughter? It would be best to put her in protective custody as soon as possible. Not yet. I can't reach her. They called, but she's not picking up. Wasn't home when they went to the house either. That's still good. Does that mean she never came home? And why weren't you the one trying to reach her? Shut up. I don't have her contact info, alright? Damn, she really doesn't trust you, huh? Either way, I told her mother that it was an emergency and we'd send an officer to find her and get her to safety. She was real reluctant, but I got her to agree. Guess that explains why you got divorced. But if you, her former father, can't find her, how the hell did Nejima do it? Former. That cut steep. Yikes, sorry, kinda slipped out. Anyway, I suspect it has something to do with his curse echo. Back on topic already, huh? He said his curse could kill a lot of people in a short time. They may even allow him to act from a distance. I see. A one-sided read. What was that story about again? Something about a man stalking a woman who goes insane and chops her up. Right, one of the more gruesome of the 7 mysteries. Let me look at you face on. As for Nejima's whereabouts, all we can do is throw more people until we find something. I'll check in with the HQ frequently to see if they got any updates. And that's about it. Shall we continue our investigation? We could go to Komagata High School to look into Hitomi Hokuda, or into Michiyo Shireshi's house to find out more about her. Alright, let me think. There's a lot we need to do, and not a lot we can do. This ain't looking good. We're gonna run out of time if we don't do something. Gotta keep moving. Oh. Oh! Oh! Oh, interesting. Oh. Fancy sushi. Life can be tough. Throughout the night, Richter continues to gather information about the curse stones, while Harui lies awake until dawn, preoccupied by the prospect of bringing her lost child back to life. Let's go. Shigema Mansion. Good morning, ma'am. How are you feeling? I'm fine. I hope we can make good progress today. How's your curse stone looking? I haven't felt anything from it since sunrise. Interesting. It's possible that its powers could only be unleashed at night then. That aside, why are you so late this morning? There are unfortunately some things that can't be investigated while the world slumbers. But I did get some research done in the limited time I had. Very well, let's talk. By the way, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. And what's that? Our current plan is to steal a curse stone that's already been absorbed with soul dregs, but I'm wondering if it would suffice to not steal, but instead to negotiate with the curse bearer to have them use the right for our purpose. Oh? I mean, I suppose that would accomplish the same, but do you think it's possible? As long as we offer compensation, it may prove much easier than you'd expect. Compensation. Cash, for instance. That wouldn't be off the table for a family as rich as the Shigemas, would it? Of course, any amount would be fine if it gets the job done. I wouldn't have monetary matters lead me to regrets the way it did to be back with the ransom. Okay, with that option on the table, let's figure out our strategy. He's looking a bit tired. Must have been up all night investigating. I mean, definitely was. Do you have a curse bearer with whom we can negotiate in mind? Not yet. Surprisingly, it seems the other curse bearers haven't been that proactive about collecting soul drugs. Did you see the news this morning? No, I haven't. Overnight, 3 mysterious deaths were reported in this area. They have yet to announce the identities of the bodies found, but they've been nicknamed the Honjo serial killings. It's garnered quite some attention on the streets. Oh my. Only 3? That's what I thought. Even the victims were curse bearers, just 1 or 2 wouldn't be enough soul drugs. And for what those curse stones are capable of, the mere 3 victims seems a little on the low side. Especially with when we were playing as Shogo, how we killed everyone in one night. You know, these other people are really not being proactive. We know what's possible. Let's see. With this little activity through the night, the curse bearers must have been a cautious bunch. What's holding them back? Are we all not after the power of resurrection? There may be still some undiscovered victims, but it doesn't sound like anyone has gathered enough soul drugs yet. We might have to send up some bait to spur them into action. And then we will offer them the deal. You mentioned hearing an agonized voice telling you to kill when you first obtained the curse stone. That doesn't sound like a coincidence to me. Someone agitated the curses in this area on purpose, and they are likely after the Rite of Resurrection as well. So you're thinking the person is not one of the curse thinking is not one of the curse bearers. You got a sharp mind, ma'am. Though it may seem obvious for the mastermind to become a curse bearer and collect soul dregs if they were after the Rite, this would be very risky, since as a curse bearer, they themselves would then become a target. So it would actually be more convenient for them if the curse bearers move less aggressively. That's right, but despite that, they've been inciting curse bearers to commit murders. Why? Let's consider this. What if the mastermind isn't trying to collect soul dregs themselves? You mean the intention was also to steal the souls while the other curse bearers compete with each other from the start? Sitting back and observing from the sideline is a safer course of action, which is why I figured it'd be best for us to attempt the same strategy. So how should we do it? There should still be a reason to suspect the mastermind that could be a curse bearer themselves. To be honest, I want to keep my distance from whoever it is. There's no telling what kind of power they might possess. Whether our aim is to negotiate or steal, we'll have to outpace the mastermind in making contact with the other curse bearers. How do you suppose we do so? At this point, all we can do is search. If there's a mastermind inciting the curse bearers to collect soul dregs, can we even be sure there is a Rite of Resurrection? Good question. The Rite could be nothing but a myth fabricated to spur the curse bearers into action. Seeing it might be for naught. Do you want to give up, ma'am? Never. Understood. After all, we never know the truth unless we see it for ourselves. But we'll do it without the curse ourselves. I learned something new about the criminal involved with the kidnapping. It concerns the serial killings. There was a body found at Komagata High School. The person was identified as a school teacher. His name was Kohei Jonuchi. Do you think he was a curse bearer? Not sure. It's possible. But regardless, this means the two people who knew about the truth about the kidnapping are both dead. Just when we were getting somewhere. It isn't enough to make me give up, of course. Still, we don't know anything about Michio Shiraishi's residence. It would be wise to pay a visit. Understood. How about the serial killings? In addition... Sorry for the yawn there. In addition, with the 3 victims associated with the Honjo serial killings, there's Michio Shiraishi, who reportedly committed suicide, and the other police officer who died at the former Yatsuda Gardens. If strange deaths continue occurring like so, then they're bound to inspire some strange rumors. But those last 2 have nothing to do with the 7 mysteries, no? It's true, both occurred a week before this accursed situation began. Still, it can't be ruled out. It's possible that the mastermind was involved even with those killings. How? What if they were preliminary steps to awakening the 7 mysteries curses? Can we really assume they're unrelated just because the timing doesn't match up? Or rather, the police officer's death is so baffling that it'd be easier if it were connected to these curses. The victim wasn't the type to be caught off guard easily. You seem to know a lot about this. I suppose we weren't strangers. My personal feelings might be wrapped up in this one too. I see. If you were to investigate the matter more, you might get a lead on the mastermind. You're right. If we wish to focus on the mastermind's identity, this would be a fine starting point. We might even discover more details related to the curses on the way. You should pay attention to today's news. By the way, I met a few people who seemed like potential curse bearers last night. I did some investigating into all of them, but I only managed to get detailed info on 2. You're quick. I suppose that's to be expected from an investigator extraordinaire. I appreciate the flattery. Anyway, first, there's Ayami Tono, the girl we talked to before, though she isn't a curse bearer herself. She's a student attending T University of Art. She currently lives alone in an apartment near Midori Show Park. You even determined her address? You're not one to be underestimated, Mr. Investigator Extraordinaire. I called every single university with ukiyo-e in the curriculum pretending to be her parent. I went around to check on her place on the way here, but it doesn't seem like she returned home last night. I'm worried she might have run into some trouble. You didn't attempt to follow her last night? I'm embarrassed to say, but I couldn't. She shook me. I couldn't keep track of her. And here I thought you were the investigator extraordinaire. I'd like to learn more about her, but it would take some time. She's planning to steal the curse stones just like us. It's best we act carefully around her. Question. Is Ayame... Is Ayame... Tetsuo's daughter? Because she is in the time frame. But also it's possibly we haven't met his daughter yet. It's possible to know. The next is the tall man who was dressed in black. I met him near Kinshisho. He stood out all the way with the way he was dressed. I managed to get some good info from him. Impressive. What can I say? He works as a secretary to Hikuhaku Soap's chairwoman. I believe his name is Takumi Yumioka. The Hikuhaku Soap's headquarters and factories are both in Honjo, correct? Yes, they've been here for a while, but it's only in the past 10 years that the company has shown significant growth. I remember seeing the chairwoman on the news a few years back. She seemed to be very shrewd. With the increase in sales, I'm assuming she'd want her factories running at full capacity. With the harsh restrictions against industrial waste, a lot of the factories with older equipment had to be shut down. That's right. Even 10 years ago, there were many complaints about chemical plants dumping waste into the river. Most companies back then were more concerned with making a profit than protecting the environment. I mean, many companies in general are more concerned with making a profit, and still present now. I wonder what a man working for such a company would have been up to in the middle of the night. But on the way here, I stopped by the company's headquarters, but they hadn't started for the day. I should have better luck later. Let's hope you will. Perhaps they'll be interested in seeing if the Rite could be beneficial for their product research into beauty and skincare. Ha! Now that's an interesting thought. I ran into one more suspicious man young last night. This one seemed to be out collecting soul drugs, right? Indeed. I couldn't get a good look at him, though, and I couldn't gather enough intel to properly identify him. Well, that's a shame. But I can make an educated guess. Oh. You know that researcher who discovered the ancient text on the Rite of Resurrection, the one who lives near here? His name is Hideki Araishi, and the man I met was very similar in stature. Oh, my, even he is involved? How awfully suspect. Considering his background, wouldn't he be the one who initiated the whole affair? I think it's possible, yes. Which is why I decided to refrain from making contact with him for the time being. Safety first. Understandable. Of course I want to learn more, but this isn't the right time to focus on him. I prefer to ascertain who else is a curse bearer. First, I'll return to Hikuhaku Soaps to see the man in black. Their headquarters is down on South Waigesu Street. And that's all I have to report. Shall we continue with our investigation? What do you want to do? If you still can't use the curse stone, taking a walk should be a fine place to start. Let's go. Together. I want to see what's going on for myself. In that case, I'll trust you to decide on where we should go, ma'am. Alright. Where should I go begin my search? Which places have stood out to me most so far? Well... let's start with South Waigesu Street. The Hikuhaku Soap's headquarters are on the other side of South Waigesu Street. We were closed when I visited this morning, but it looks like things are up and running now. To think a small soaps making company could grow so much in such a small time. They have factories and warehouses throughout the area now. You can see the directors now, and the chairwoman, Natsuo Yamamori, is called the Queen. Chemical producer that ranks in 4th largest domestic detergent market and the 7th largest in the cosmetic market. From its humble beginnings as a small soap factory established after the war in 1946, founder Natsuo Yamamori utilized her feminine perspective and a well-timed economic boom to boldly lead the company into new markets. Even as the market grew crowded within the industrialization of Sumida City, the company continued to expand, digging its roots deeper into the area. In particular, it established itself as a household name by focusing its branding toward the rapidly expanding convenience store market. Its flagship products now include cosmetics, detergent, soap, shampoo, and more. The company's name, Hihaku, can also refer to kasuri, a type of patterned fabric. we get a face for her. Natsui is the former president of Hihaku Soaps, a large chemicals company. Though she retired from her position 2 years ago, she wields great influence over the company as from her position of chairwoman. Recently, there have been rumors about her possessing strange and powerful magical abilities, earning her the nickname the Witch of Hihaku. Prior to the war, Natsui enjoyed working her dream job at a textile factory. She was forced to face the bitter reality of the world, however, when the factory was destroyed by a fire during the war, and she was ordered to rework the fabrics she had painstakingly crafted into something more suitable for blue-collar work. Witnessing the rise of popularity of Western-style clothing in the post-war period, Natsui left the textile industry. However, a nod to her past can be seen in her company's name, with Hihaku being another name for kasuri, a type of fabric featuring patterns and images woven into dyed fabrics. Having long been dissatisfied with the soap supplied at the textile factory, Natsui saw a business opportunity and set up her own small soap factory. Taking inspiration from imported soap brands, she developed new products, which quickly gained a good reputation. Ever the shrewd businesswoman, Natsui ran an aggressive promotional campaign on TV featuring a popular Japanese singer, rapidly turning Hihaku Soaps into a household name. You mentioned that Takumi works as her secretary? That's right. You think it's possible he's acting on her orders? That's exactly my thinking. A curse-bearer with both money and power could certainly look at resurrection as their next prize. Negotiating with a person of that stature may prove difficult. Okay. Back in the Edo period, the canal known as South Warigesu ran through this area, but it's been turned into a major road. It's a bit away from Kinshicho Station or Rigoku Station, though it's still considered a nice area. The stories of the ever-burning lantern and the foot-washing mansion both took place around here. One of the bodies discovered this morning was found by this road as well. This is quite a lively area, huh? I suppose you could call it somewhat of a city center. A warigesu lit partitioning ditch refers to a waterway dug down the middle of the road as to divide it. At the dawn of the Edo period, the Honjo district was a little more than a collection of suburban rice farms. As the area became more developed, the South Warigesu was excavated in order to drain rainwater into the Yokojikan River to the east. Though it served people long and faithfully, it was converted into an underground culvert at the beginning of the Showa era. In the present, no trace of it remains on the surface, but the street that bears its name. First, I need to confirm whether Takumi is the man I ran into last night. Then I'll be able to determine if he's a curse bearer. It'd be better to go if I go inside the headquarters alone. You should walk around, visit a cafe for some tea, perhaps? I'm going in. It may be a while, so feel free to find some way to kill time. Okay, good luck in there. Sorry to keep you waiting. How did it go? I'll fast forward to the conclusion. I met with Takumi. There's no doubt. He's the same man I saw last night. But it doesn't seem like he's a curse bearer. But that doesn't mean he has no connection to the recent curses. He knew about the 7 mysteries. He even guessed we have a curse stone of our own. Excuse me? I tried to approach Takumi about a fallen item after I ran into him last night, however... You said your name was Richter, correct? I have a favor I'd like to ask of you. I'm hoping you would hand over the cursed stone in your possession. Cursed stone? What do you want about? There is no need to play dumb with me. In fact, there's no time for it. I had all the same reason you did last night. You think you were a curse bearer last night. And your arrival here only confirms it. You are a curse bearer, no? You're right. We lack time. I confess I am a curse bearer. I possess the cursed stone of the haunted clampers. I'm glad to hear the truth. Finally, this conversation is worthwhile. It is a dangerous item you hold. Give it to me. My company will take responsibility to dispose it. I didn't know the soap business specialized in scrubbing curses clean. It is the prerogative of Miss Yamamori. Is that so? Assuming you have attained the curses, you understand the power it involves, no? Mrs. Yamamori possesses supernatural powers akin to those of a god. She also has a deep love for this land, having once transformed it from the pile of dirt it once was to the home of our headquarters. Then who has the well, we brought Yoko home, so, I wonder who has the drowning stone. She cannot stomach the fact it is now the sight of these curses run rampant. So you're telling me the Queen of Hihaku is a real-life witch? She wouldn't appreciate being called that, mind you. There is a sorcerer by the names of Sugen Gemyoto who gallantly working behind the scenes exorcising spirits and the like. Go on. That being so, there have already been instances of the death coming back to life. Do you understand the urgency of this matter? These are curses we're speaking of, tools that are used by wicked beings to possess people. The Rite of Resurrection is nothing but a fabrication meant to seduce the curse bearers into unspeakable action. If you truly understand what I'm talking about, you must hand over the curse stone at once. Very interesting. That said, just how many curse stones have you acquired so far? If what you tell me is true, surely the company would have launched a large-scale search by now. We have 6. 6? Well, I can rest at ease then. And here I thought I was at the risk of being cursed. It seems we are on the same page. If that's the case, you should hand over your curse stone immediately. Sorry to disappoint you, but it's not actually in my possession at the moment. Considering its importance, I've been keeping it in hiding. Really now? Then I'll accompany you while you retrieve it. I'm sorry, but I got something important to attend to, but I promise I'll return it with it later. Very well. Then you won't refuse to provide your address and telephone number, I presume. How prudent of you, I'll oblige. He doesn't have 6. And that's how it went. So they aren't after the right at all? I wouldn't be so quick to trust him. Oh? I believe we're dealing with a master in deception. He may have made up a story to convince us to part ways with our stone. I think he was lying about procuring 6 curse stones as well. Like, really? 6? That's excessive. Well, now I feel gullible. The company is plotting something. I wonder what they mean to do with the curse stones. He seemed rather desperate to get a hold of ours, despite not having collected any soul dregs. Perhaps the people at Hihaku are the masterminds behind the curse being unleashed. Because the chairwoman's a witch? I wonder about that too. If she really were that powerful, would her secretary have divulged that information so casually? Takumi was either making it up as he went, or he's trying to spread a rumor. For what purpose would he do that? Recently, people have been caught up with the occult more than ever before. If word spreads that Hihaku's chairwoman has godlike powers, she could very well benefit socially and politically from the mystique. That's unsettling. By the way, there's one more thing of interest I heard while in the company's reception lobby. And what's that? People were discussing whether one of the bodies found this morning was that of a Hihaku employee. He is. As long as the officials haven't revealed the identity, it all amounts to no more than speculation, though. Despite that, I have a reason to believe that Hihaku Soaps is deeply involved with the 7 mysteries. At the very least, I can assure you I've gathered that much. The more we know, the better our negotiations will go. Well, time to go. Midoricho Park. We're here. This is Midoricho Park. Ayame Tono lives around here. She wasn't in her apartment when I dropped by this morning. I wonder if it's worth checking again? This place is connected with the story of the Taku Sugaru. Sorry. Not only that, but Katsushika Hokusai's home was also in this area. That might be why Ayame chose to live here. A small park bordering the South Warigaisu Street, sporting a mixture of cherry and evergreen trees. Although unremarkable in most respects, its small playground always attracts a number of children come the evening. While no trace remains of the modern day, it stands on what was once the site of the Sugaru estate. The legendary artist Katsushika Hokusai is also believed to have been born in the vicinity. We won't get much standing around here. Why don't we go and check out Mayami's apartment? Why don't you don't mean to speak with her, do you? No, I'd prefer to get an idea of what she's been up to. I'd like to see whether she's been home or not, just to potentially get a trace of her movements. Then be my guest. Okay, shouldn't be long. I'm back, ma'am. So, nothing? I'm afraid so. She still hasn't returned. However, I noticed a few people seem to be related to the police force keeping watch of the area. I don't know if they've got eyes on her apartment, but they do seem to be watching the building she's in. Okay, so she is Tetsuo's daughter. Interesting. You've got a sharp eye to have noticed them despite being so covert. What can I say? It's part of the job. However, it means I had to refrain from knocking on her door or looking through her windows. I wasn't able to check her electric meter or mailbox either, unfortunately. You were planning to go that far? Well, yeah, that's the job. Komagata High School, front gates. Here we are at Ground Zero, Komagata High School. I guess it's logical the police got this place shut down. This teacher's body was found here after all. It's as if the students have nowhere to go now that the school's closed. The news started attracted a bunch of curious onlookers, huh? That works in our favor. The more people around, the better we can blend in. Seems the officers are still inspecting the scene. Entry has been strictly prohibited. This place says to have been connected with the story of the Fool's Procession. It wouldn't be survived if the curse bearer decided to turn up. However, I need to find out if the teacher was a curse bearer or not. I expect the police to be baffled since they don't know about curses. I can ask around to see what the students have to say. Yeah, sure. I'm back, ma'am. So what did you learn? That school kids sure love a good rumor. I was practically drowning in stories about Mr. Joniuchi and Michio. Most have seemed dubious at best. Not surprising. Most of I heard was hardly worth a second thought. But there was one story that caught my attention. Oh? Some believe Michio is the one who killed Mr. Joniuchi. Really? The story's got two pieces of evidence to back it up. One of them wasn't news to me. Apparently, he's been mumbling that Michio was going to kill him for some days now. A fellow teacher overheard his mumbling and told the students. And then it spread like wildfire, I suppose. Rumors that juicy don't stay a secret for long. As for the other piece of evidence, a pig-tailed girl in a school uniform was seen around the school late last night. Go on. Although numerous people claim to have seen the girl, not one of them saw her face. Some are proposing it was Michio brought back to life or that it was her vengeful spirit. But it's not like Michio was the only high school girl to wear pigtails. This rumor might have been made up just to fan the flames. But if that were true, I'd want to get hold of her in order to hear about her side of the kidnapping. If she's alive, that would be ideal. There's still one more thing I should mention. I discovered where Michio lived. A student had a list of student addresses on hand. That's an amazing find. I believe the students actually had a copy of said list. It truly worries me how easy it was to obtain what should be confidential information. Imagine what would happen if that information got into the wrong hands. Well, so far it hasn't, no. Sure, let's hope it stays that way. In the meantime, it's now possible for us to visit Michio Shiraishi's house. He appears to be very wary of those police officers. Maybe the police really do have something against private investigators, just like in those detective novels. Well, let's go to her house. How did it go? I went to visit Michio Shiraishi's family home, however, no one seemed to be there. I got no answer at the door, the lights were out. It seems to have been empty for a while now. There was a stack of newspapers out front. Social connections run deep in the working class areas like this place, so I decided to talk to the locals. I met a few nice old ladies who were kind enough to give me the scoop. Turns out the Shireshi's reputation really went down the dumps last year. Is that so? I'll give you a quick summary. They moved here about 3 years ago. Their previous residence was in the better part of town. Michio's father died in a car accident, leaving behind just the two of them. Michio's mom, Toshiko, now a single mother, relocated here. At first, they got along with their neighbors, many of which were in similar situations, helping and being helped in turn. So far, so good. What happened? Well, as I said, their reputation began to go downhill about a year ago. A man recognized as Toshiko's common-law husband had moved into the household. His name was apparently Kenshihiro Iwai. Neighborhood gossip is something else. Everyone somehow knew his name. And what of this Iwai character? He was apparently a vulgar fellow with a criminal record. He was prone to violent outbursts. The neighbors often heard screams and shouting coming from the home. The neighbors took particular notice of Toshiko's scream, pleading with him not to hit Michio. That's terrible. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, every night the neighbors also began hearing an eerie chanting. Through this, the Shirashi's standing in the neighborhood plummeted rapidly. Toshiko was often seen covered in bruises and wounds. She stopped responding to her neighbors, and she would just turn the other way when greeted. They kept their storm shutters closed even during the day and effectively shut themselves away from the entire community. That sounds horrible. Why didn't the police step in and do something? Unfortunately, under our current laws, the police aren't allowed to get involved with domestic disputes. That's awful. And then Michio reportedly killed herself. Things only got worse with Iwai, and Toshiko was admitted to the hospital for physical and mental abuse. Ever since, Iwai hasn't returned to the home. Many locals expressed sympathies for Michio's circumstances, but just as many of them were fed up with the Shirashis entirely and seemed relieved that things finally quieted down again. It seems that they were considered outsiders even after 3 years of living here. I don't understand it. Why would Toshiko have gotten involved with such a brutish good-for-nothing in the first place? I've heard many stories where one's partner's personality does a complete turn after entering a relationship. After her first husband's death, Toshiko's financial situation had also taken a turn for the worst. She was determined to send her daughter to a good high school. It's possible she fell victim to sweet promises. Life can be tough, I suppose. You don't seem to be moved by the story, ma'am. That's fine. People have all kinds of stories. The common-law husband of Michio Shirashi's mother, Toshiko Shirashi, Ken Kichiro started coming over and going from the Shirashi household a little over a year ago. It seems he had served some time in prison, but the details are unknown. Oh, so you came here too? What is it? Besties! Hi! Could you repeat what you know one more time for me, Richter? Hell yeah. Oh, that's where they're at. Alright. Alrighty, so that's it for today's episode of Paranormasight. Learning more and more, getting some interesting information about everyone while we're investigating this good old morning. I'm curious at whether we're not able to progress in Yako's story because I went to the wrong place, or if I just don't have the info yet. But we'll find out. We will see. Alright, so I will see you guys next time. Bye!